Hi there, I hope this finds you well. I want to offer some encouragement today for those who find themselves waiting, and in particular, if you find yourself waiting for God to provide or to reveal the next steps in your life to you. When I moved to Dumfries over 3 years ago now, I had a lot of expectation. Emily and I both came with the boys, but Emily and I both had a strong sense of God's leading that this was the right move to make for a whole variety of reasons in the way that it came around. And I think for me, I just had a real sense of expectation that God would have new purposes for us down here. And also for me, that included an expectation of some kind of new job that would arise closer to my new home. I was working at the time for a housing association in Inverness, and I was working remotely. It was the end of the pandemic, and I was able to move with that job remotely because of that. I'm still working remotely from home for that housing association in Inverness over 3 years later, although just recently I have been offered and accepted a new job that will be based in Edinburgh. This wasn't the type of job or location that I expected when I moved down. I was expecting something a bit closer to Dumfries, but the way it's come around and all that's happened in the last few months around it has given a real strong sense and a sense of peace that this is God's timing for me to move on. Don't know how that will go, don't know how it will work out, but I'm excited that just to get that sense of God revealing his next steps to me after a long time of waiting. And during the time that I've been waiting, there's been a lot of challenging times, things that have been really stressful at work and in relating to my job up north. The things that have been draining at times, and I often find myself in situations that I just wish I wasn't in, and I certainly wouldn't have chosen. And been a few times certainly where I've wondered, where's God's hand been in all of this? But equally, I can look back in this time and just see how God has been so faithful. I can see how he's given some really valuable experiences now that I've come through the other side. Maybe a wee bit more grey-haired, but come through the other side. And I can also see that he's been able to use me, despite my weaknesses, my failures, my doubts, my kicking and screaming at times. The work I've been involved in up there has had a really quite significant impact on supporting a lot of households through the cost of living crisis. And I'm really grateful to have had the privilege to be part of that. The Bible has a lot to say about waiting. In fact, I think it's fair to say it's quite a significant theme and feature of Christian life for those of us who seek God's will and seek to live out his plans and his ways for our lives. So whether we like it or not, if we're seeking God's will, then it's likely our lives will involve times of waiting. John Ortberg, in his book, If You Want to Walk on Water, You've Got to Get Out of the Boat, describes learning the ability to wait as one of the most important skills that followers of Jesus require. But he also acknowledges it can be one of the hardest things that we are called to do. And he devotes a whole chapter to learning to wait. Similarly, Sinclair Ferguson, in a book I have called Discovering God's Will, devotes a whole chapter to waiting on the Lord. And I'd recommend both books to you if you find yourself waiting. So many verses in the Bible that talk about waiting, encourage us to wait and to be patient. So many powerful examples of people who had to wait a long time for God to realise and show his purposes for their life. Joseph and David come to mind. But this kind of waiting that the Bible encourages isn't a kind of helpless, passive, just sitting around waiting for things to happen to us. It's something active, it's prayerful. It's actively exercising our trust in God that something better is to come and that we are where we're meant to be right now. It's living as fully as possible as we can for God in the situations that he has put us in, that maybe we even feel left in and not understand. And it's likely that God will do work in you and through you during this time of waiting, possibly even in ways that you just can't imagine. So if you can identify with waiting right now, I just want to encourage you that you're in good company and that God is with you and He hasn't abandoned you or forgotten you. And there's a lot in the Bible to encourage you with that as well. He's with you and He cares for you and He'll help you in this time of waiting. And one day He'll reveal the next steps for you. Just want to finish with a couple of verses from Proverbs chapter 3. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your paths straight." Thanks for listening.